How's it possible that I've never set foot in a place this close to me before? It's kind of dark and eerie. If only it was covered in flowers, then it'd totally be a Disney castle. Oh, someone's here. I went to say hi, but she didn't seem very welcoming.
Stay away from this spooky place before it sucks the life out of you, young girl.
So that means you're not working here anymore? The maid just shook her head before she hurried off. Here comes my chance! Hey guys, Jocasta here. And this Dracula-esque castle is none other than Mr. Joseph Williams. Are you wondering who that is? I'm curious too. All I know about him is that he's my parents' creditor, and I'm here to ask him to extend the deadline for their debt. But as one of his maids just quit, I could work here to pay off the debt instead, right? Hello, I'm Jocasta, your new maid. No answer. Should I just come in? If anything, the master should blame the old maid for leaving the gates open. So I had to find my own way inside. Hello? I'm the new maid. Master, are you here? No? Not here. Not here either. Is he still sleeping at this hour? Oh, there he is. Huh? He's not old and gray like I thought he'd be. I introduced myself, then he returned to his painting, and coldly said,
Work off your debt? Fine. Let's see how long you'll last. Just keep in mind, don't ever make me angry.
Oh, master, you're worrying over nothing. I wouldn't even care about you. But turns out he wasn't worrying over nothing. He's actually infuriatingly difficult. The curtains must remain drawn during nighttime. There must be absolutely no noise at all, and his bedroom is strictly forbidden.
Who gave you permission to sit there?
Oops, I forgot. I must keep a distance of 10 feet from him at all times, even during meals. Phew, finally it's time to rest. Though I've been working here for a couple of days, I'm still not used to Master Joseph's ridiculous rules. Huh? What's that staring at me? Ah! Rat! There's a rat! Help!
What on earth are you shrieking about at this hour? You dare to disturb my sleep?
Master, save me! There it is! It's coming! He stood bravely like a warrior, ready to fight the beast. Look at his broad shoulders, his hair, his chiseled face, and his every movement is so smooth. That hideous rat was finally running scared. What a relief!
You're making a fuss over nothing. Move to another room tomorrow. This one is too shabby.
Looking closely, my fastidious master looks kinda handsome, doesn't he? Well, living here isn't so bad now that I've got the hang of his rules.
Bring me a cup of tea.
Yes, master. Here you go.
Pass it to me.
Huh? Are we off social distancing now? I excitedly handed him the cup of tea, but he missed it and tea spilled all over him.
Clumsy dummy! Can't you look at what you're doing?
I hurriedly wiped the stain on his clothes and apologized profusely, but he roared again.
Stop! How dare you come this close to me? Get out!
Jeez, his temperament changed like the seasons. Hot, cold, whatever. I'll just go home then. Indeed, no place like home. Oh, how comfy. I told Judy, my bestie, about my week working in the castle. Interested? Wanna come with me someday? No chance. Haven't you seen anything unusual there? Then Judy said rumor had it that a mad scientist once lived there, and werewolves too, as horrible howls could be heard during a full moon. You have to be careful. There's a reason why no one goes there. Oh no, it's today. Wolves howling under the moon? Never mind, Judy is just being childish. Who still believes in such fiction? Definitely not me. So, ta-da! I'm back again. Honestly, I need this job. I can't let him fire me, even if I have to cling to his leg and beg, but where is he? Should I opened the door to see him lying there, surrounded by dull paintings, while tools scattered everywhere. What happened? I tried lifting him, nudged him. Still, he wouldn't come around. Then suddenly, his eyes opened. Hey, the 10-foot rule doesn't apply because that was an emergency. Have you eaten anything since yesterday? As I thought, if you still want to kick me out now, you'll have nothing to eat. After that incident, Joseph seemed more at ease. He stopped threatening me with his rules and just let me ramble on. One time, when I was napping on the couch after cleaning, he even put a blanket on me. I haven't slept yet, dear master. Then one day, a middle-aged woman appeared at the gate. She introduced herself as Joseph's mom and gifted him a beautiful bird. But she didn't come inside and just sarcastically said,
Oh, my son's got a new maid again? This weird boy. So sorry for you, poor girl.
I brought the bird to Joseph, excitedly told him that his mom just dropped by. Look what lovely present she got you.
Lovely? That woman's just mocking me. I'm stuck in this place like a bird in a cage.
I think it's a thoughtful gift. You seem to like painting birds.
Stop prying. This is none of your business.
Okay, I'm sorry. But it's your own choice to isolate yourself from the outside world. Come with me. I have something special to show you. Oh, this place is still as gorgeous as the first time I came here. Looks like Joseph is mesmerized too. See? The world is beautiful. You just need to look. We were walking along the blooming flower path. Then suddenly...
He's coming! The wolf! Wolf!
Then all the gardeners immediately scrammed in panic.
What have I done to you, you morons? Beautiful, you say?
Then Joseph stormed off. I tried to catch him, but... Ouch! I tripped over a rock. Oh, it hurts! It frickin' hurts!
Then let me apply the antiseptic cream.
No, that will only make it worse. Maybe doing something fun could ease the pain. I'll be distracted from this. Please, can we watch a movie? And of course, he couldn't refuse. Oops, awkward. Clearly I didn't think it through when picking this rom-com. Wonder what my master is thinking. Oh gosh, there's no need to be that emotional. His scary appearance startled me. Eyes turned white, mouth snarled, as if he wanted to eat me alive. I tried to stay calm to ask him what was going on, but Joseph was like a madman, frantically smashing things and howling. Stop, Joseph! Please don't do it! Ah, my arm! Realizing that he'd just hurt me, Joseph seemed to regain his senses. He then ran off in a panic. I quickly hugged him. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. Once he'd felt better, he started telling me his biggest secret. Since childhood, he'd had difficulty controlling his emotions, which often led to outbursts of anger. Later on, the moon also triggered this reaction after his stepfather passed away on a full moon night, and it then became traumatizing because Joseph feared he'd been the cause of his death. That was also the cause of the tension between him and his mother.
I think I was born with this strange condition. As a child, my stepfather used to give me some medicine to keep it under control.
His stepfather used to give him pills? Judy also mentioned the mad scientist who used to live here. Is that... I have to figure it out. One night, I sneaked into the room that Joseph forbade me to enter. On rummaging around, I found a tape that showed me the whole terrifying plan of his stepfather to regularly give Joseph a power-boosting pill as an experiment, and also to take him to the mountains to test out some new crazy invention. What on earth was that? But I can't tell Joseph right away. He needs to be mentally stable first. So I started off by taking him out for a walk, and when he felt comfortable enough, I suggested we go downtown together for some grocery shopping. He was just like a hedgehog, prickling up every time someone accidentally touched him. But, of course, I know how to tame this hot headmaster, just like this. There you go. Then we started tidying and redecorating the whole castle to liven up the mood of this place. When we got to the last room, his stepfather's, he seemed a bit hesitant. It's been so long. This room also needs cleaning, else the furniture may become damaged. Do you know anything about your stepfather's videos?
How do you know?
Then Joseph searched for a memory card, then gave it to me.
I was so scared that I hid it and never dared look at it. I wanted to destroy it once, but on second thought, it contains the last images of my stepdad, so I've always kept it here.
Huh? This wasn't what I meant. So there's another video apart from the ones I saw. This may shed light on everything. If you don't mind, can I watch that video? I'm quite curious. From that day, we never spoke of the videos again. Instead, we went for walks, cooked, and meditated together. And today's schedule is this art exhibition. Look at his surprised face. They look familiar, right? Don't tell me you don't recognize your own artwork.
It seems that each painting tells a story. I can't wait to know who the artist is. They must be an experienced and profound person.
I knew it. These compliments will help him erase his own self-doubts. Back from the exhibition, we noticed a delicious smell coming from the dining room. Who could that be? It was Joseph's mother. Joseph seemed surprised by his mom's presence, but I wasn't, because I was the director behind the scene. In fact, I secretly asked her to organize that exhibition. Watching the video cleared everything up. On that moonlit night, the mad scientist took Joseph to the mountains to test the effects of a super power-boosting concoction. But when he saw Joseph reacting abnormally, he panicked and ran away, so the accident happened. It wasn't Joseph's fault. He was, in fact, a victim. I told Joseph's mom the truth beforehand, which led to this touching reconciliation. Now that things were clear as day, they have untied the knot in their hearts. His mother decided to move here to help him overcome his trauma of the moon with me. Oh, he also told me about the time he dropped a teacup on purpose as an excuse to push me away so that I'd be safe. How sweet and caring he is. Oh shoot, who left this curtain open? I hurried over to close it when suddenly a hand gently touched mine.
Before you came, I really never thought I'd ever have the courage to face moonlight. But Jocasta, with you by my side now, anything feels possible.
That's my dad, Marcus Baldwin, the world-famous jockey. Now he's the chairman of a super successful horse racing club. As his cherished only child, I was given everything I could ever dream of. But then, something big happened that changed things. Before I tell you more, don't forget to like and subscribe. At the age of 8, I was in the playroom brushing my doll's hair when Dad let this tatty-looking woman and her daughter in.
Audrey, I'd like you to meet Belinda and her mom. They are going to be staying here for a while and be our new maids.
Belinda looked so frightened. So, feeling bad for her, I took her hand and let her play with my dolls. We soon became the best of friends, and I even managed to persuade Dad to let her attend the same school as me. Unsurprisingly, I grew up obsessed with horses and dreamed of becoming a famous jockey like Dad. I practiced riding my horse, Jackal, every day after school, and we became quite the formidable team. Soon, I was winning a heap of junior contests, and even the newspapers predicted I'd be the next big name in the world of horse racing. This certainly helped my popularity at school, and I began a clique full of elite members. However, there was one slight problem. Due to Belinda's humble background, the other girls didn't get with her. Where did you get those shoes from? Your grandma? Did you let your grandma style your hair too? Come on, girls. Let's see if the canteen has any oat muffins left. Everything was practically perfect, and to put the cherry on top of the cake, I was invited to a gala event for talented young jockeys. I needed to look the part, so I got my driver to take me to the mall to find the most amazing outfit. But on the way, everything changed. I woke up in the hospital, wearing an ugly gown and feeling dizzy with confusion. Oh my, you're awake! Huh? Why am I here? Sweetie, you were in a car accident. You've been in a coma for the last 2 years. 2 years? What? No way! That meant I'd missed out on 2 whole years of my life and was now 17! I missed my own sweet 16th! Once I got over the initial shock of being Sleeping Beauty, I made sure to ask the most important question. Is Jackal okay? Who won the Grand Youth Championship? After catching up with my parents, they told me something even more surprising.
Audrey, you've been very poorly, and we thought we were going to lose you. You needed a new kidney, but we weren't matches. But Belinda was, and she donated you hers.
We are so grateful to her that when her mom sadly passed away, we decided to adopt her. She's now your sister. I was sad to hear about Belinda's mom, but grateful for what Belinda did for me. I'd always seen her as my sister anyway. Right after I got discharged from the hospital, I was excited to get back to school and resume my life. Only, it seemed the world had moved on without me. No one dressed like me anymore, and I was stuck in a class with 15-year-olds. I tried to interact with them, so when I saw the teacher pinning up a picture of an elderly man, I asked if this was her grandpa. The whole class fell silent for a second, then suddenly exploded with laughter.
It's the president, Audrey.
Ugh! How was I supposed to know? At lunchtime, when I went to join my old friends, I overheard them talking. 2021 called. It wants its tennis skirt back. What language is she speaking? Oh my god, Audrey is like an alien. She doesn't know anything. I mentioned the lucky girl syndrome trend, and she literally looked at me like a fish. Come on now, you know she can't help it. Let's go get some cheese fries. Anything you say, Belinda. Belinda was on my side, right? It kind of felt like she'd stepped right in and taken my place. At least my parents would be glad to have me home, right? Wrong. Mom was always shopping, attending yoga class and the spa, but she didn't ask me to go with her. Instead, she always asked Belinda. It felt like she'd forgotten that me, her real daughter, actually existed. Meanwhile, at the riding club, as I traipsed through the stables, I heard Dad talking to Belinda about an upcoming event.
I'm so lucky you're here to help promote this event. I'd be lost without you.
I no longer fit in at school, at home, or at the horse racing club. Life has changed around me, and I felt frozen in time. Worse still, I had to take this gross medicine. One time my maid was chasing me around the furniture, trying to make me take it, but I used ornaments, cushions, and books to block the path. I was so distracted making my obstacle course that I bumped straight into Douglas Barron, my dad's business partner.
My, you certainly are a determined young lady.
Later that evening, Dad called me into his office. I thought he was going to grumble at me for not taking my meds, but instead he said something I wasn't expecting.
It seems that Douglas is rather impressed by you. He wants you to date his son, Damien. The firm's been under a lot of pressure recently, and having Douglas on side would be beneficial, especially as he's our biggest stakeholder.
What? You want me to date a stranger just to help your business? I can revive the business myself without having to do that. I just need to win the horse racing tournament.
No, it's too soon after the coma. You're not ready yet. Dating is the only way.
As if I was gonna listen to Dad. So I secretly came here with Belinda. I was about to saddle up Jackal, but then I got a whiff of horse manure and began to feel dizzy and nauseous. Dad suddenly showed up and took me to the hospital. Turns out, I'm allergic to horse manure. Ugh. Then Dad started yelling at me for training without his permission.
Thankfully, Belinda informed me what was going on and told me about your allergy.
Belinda? Why? Sorry, sis. I only told Dad as I'm worried about you. Whatever. I'm still going to horse race again.
Actually, there's physical therapy, and if you pass the agility test, you could still get back to training.
Dad, please.
Fine. Do the therapy, but only if you go on this date with Damien.
I agreed to go on the date, but I never said anything about being well-behaved on it. So in order to prepare for our special date, I watched this tutorial video. How to dress to attract men. A tutorial. Rule number 1, make sure your hair is long and never put up. Rule number 2, make sure to show a little skin, ladies. Rule number 3, footwear should be dainty and delicate. And ta-da! As I showed up at the restaurant looking ridiculous, I instantly recognized this quirky guy from school, Damien. So I made sure I had the most unapproachable expression on my face. As soon as I sat down, I purposely ordered the weirdest food combo, ice cream hamburger. I was convinced he'd think I was a lunatic and leave, but instead, he reached over and tried a bite of my ice cream burger.
Interesting.
What? How could he like that? Someone please call the food police over here.
Your fashion sense is so refreshing. Everything about you is fascinating. I am rather smitten.
The rumors about him being quirky are definitely true. After the disastrous date with Damien, I met with Cooper, a medical student at the hospital who was helping me with my physical therapy. During the training, he was attentive and super encouraging. I was beginning to feel better, but then Damien showed up and insisted on staying there so he could check Cooper was doing his job properly. He wouldn't stop humming annoying tunes and munching on potato chips really loudly. Then at home afterward, he wouldn't leave and continued bugging me. When he finally left, I moaned to Belinda about how annoying he was. But to my surprise, she said she thought he was cute and funny? Hang on, does this mean Belinda likes Damien? On the day of the physical examination, I passed every single test without any mistakes. I was smiling as the doctor made his announcement.
Miss Baldwin, I'm afraid you failed the assessment.
I ran out of there and cried to myself. I felt someone sit next to me and was about to tell them to go away when I realized it was Cooper.
Audrey, the improvements you've made are impressive. I was sure you'd pass.
Seeing his caring face made me feel a little better. We talked some more and then he offered to drive me home. As we walked around the corner to the parking lot, we heard Belinda raising her voice with, "The doctor!" We stopped to listen. "I'm not giving you more money. I already paid you for failing Audrey. Sign this so I can be sure you'll keep this a secret." What? How could Belinda betray me like this? Belinda, why? Why did you do this? You don't understand how hard it is living in your shadow. I love the horse riding club, but you're coming back, and there will be no use for me there anymore. You ruined everything! Then she stormed off, leaving me standing there stunned. I immediately got home and told Dad what she'd done. I expected him to be on my side, but...
I'm sure you're overthinking the situation. Besides, you should be grateful to Belinda. Not only did she save your life, but now she has agreed to marry Damien to save the company.
Ugh! Belinda was only doing this to steal my life. It wouldn't work. I was more determined than ever to go back into horse riding and claim back my life. Mine! Meanwhile, Cooper helped find another doctor to test me, and this time I passed. I showed my results to Dad, and he finally allowed me to go back to training. But when I brought up Belinda bribing the doctor again, he just remained quiet. Am I even his daughter anymore? Okay, change of plan then. I met up with Damien to ask about his marriage with Belinda. So, did you agree to the marriage?
No way! I don't want to marry whatever her name is.
Great! I mean, that's sad.
Well, my heart belongs to you.
How about we get payback on them and fake date? Just faking it though, if you don't mind.
Fake? Real? If it means being your boyfriend, then I'll do it.
So we immediately returned home, walked inside and linked arms and gave each other lovey-dovey looks. Belinda's scrunched up face was a picture. I resumed horse riding practice and got around my allergy problems by using sachets and spraying perfume all over myself. It worked at first, but then I started getting allergic to the sachets too. Cooper immediately took notice, and the next day he showed up with some homemade herbal sachets. Not only did they help cure my allergy, but they also had a calming effect on me. Without the allergy bothering me, I could focus on practicing, and soon I was back to my amazing former riding self again. I showcased my talents to the club and everyone seemed impressed.
A talent like you should be head of the club.
Yeah, I may not be a big talker like someone I know, but actions speak louder than words. Belinda was clearly jealous of my rise to success, so she pulled some mean pranks on me at school. One time she suddenly turned nice and offered me a coffee, but it turned out she had snuck hot sauce in it. I was so mad. I changed her ringtone to fart sounds and called her number. It was hilarious! But then she suddenly fainted and was taken to the school infirmary. Oh, come on. She was so hurt she fainted? I told the other students she was faking it, but instead of listening to me, they all took Belinda's side. You're so ungrateful. Belinda even gave you her kidney, yet you scared her so much she fainted? Yeah, you wouldn't be here today without her. What kind of person are you? Feeling deflated and not listened to, I ran off. I stormed home, and on the way, bumped into Cooper. Unable to hold my emotions anymore, I burst into tears. He insisted we went for a walk, and I ended up spilling out everything to him.
I don't condone what Belinda did, but I kinda see it from her perspective. She's an orphan who longs for a family. She finally found her place in the world, and then you woke up and became a threat.
I never thought of it like that before. I realized the best thing I could do was to stop the pointless revenge and put all my energy into my recovery. I stopped hanging around with my clique, then broke up with Damien. I trained hard at the club, but not for my dad or the company, but for myself. Belinda showed up and tried provoking me, but I just ignored her. All my hard work paid off, and I qualified for the tournament. At the tournament, I was leading the race and felt unstoppable. But then some bees started buzzing around Jackal's face. He freaked out and started bucking. Then everything went dark. I woke up in hospital feeling drowsy and saw someone rummaging in my bed. Belinda, what are you doing? Then Cooper appeared.
Is this what you're after? I saw Belinda swap the sachets for pollen ones to attract the bees. I bet she also switched the ones before to worsen your allergies.
What did I do to deserve this? It's so easy for you, isn't it? Because of you, I've lost everything.
Belinda, how could you? Apologize to Audrey right now.
No, I won't. This is all your fault.
It's all my fault. Many years ago, I was in a relationship with Belinda's mom. We ended on amicable terms, but it was only in her final days that she told me the truth. Belinda is my daughter. I didn't want to upset anyone, so I kept it to myself. But then when you needed a kidney and Belinda ended up being a match, I used this as a reason to suggest adopting her. Then you woke up and we were so happy. I didn't realize how this had affected Belinda, or you, Audrey. Please forgive me. I want to put it right.
Mom and me were so shocked, and Mom told him to go and find Belinda. After Dad left, Mom hugged me.
Sweetie, both you and Belinda deserve warmth and love. I promise things will be better from now on.
As I left the hospital the next day, I saw Belinda walking toward me. I'm so sorry. You've been nothing but good to me, and I was horrible. I was so worried about you when you were in the coma. But when you woke up, I got scared no one would want me anymore. I care about you, Audrey. You're my sister. I wrapped my arms around her. You've always been a sister to me, Belinda. But please, no more pranks. Then I saw Cooper walking over to me, holding a huge balloon. Looks like you have company.
I'm glad you both made up. Here, I got you this.
It's not here. Not there either. Where can it be? It's not just any shirt. It's my most prized possession. It has Kendall Jenner, my idol's autograph on it. Franny, your t-shirt was dirty, so I cleaned it for you. Come have a look. Oh, snap. I rushed over to see my precious shirt neatly piled on top of the fresh laundry. No. The autograph's completely gone. Grandma! That's right. The person responsible for this unwanted blank shirt is my grandma, who just moved in with us after Granddad passed away. At first, it seemed exciting because my memories about Grandma were all from my happy childhood with her. But now I'm taking it back. She's a literal disaster. You know what? She is getting on in years, but still wants to learn to use social media. My mom even bought her a brand new iPhone 14. Meanwhile, her dear daughter was stuck with this lame iPhone 8. Honestly, All she needed was just one of those brick phones that can only take calls. With her forgetfulness, she'll forget all her passwords. So it's best to just log in with my iCloud. After all, this phone will become mine anyway. Oh, that's quite a handsome young man. You think so too? Indeed, Josh's attractiveness is second to none. He's every girl's dream man. And yours as well, right? As if I stood a chance. He's notoriously cold, and none of the girls from school seem to interest him. Well, that probably was the only time we shared the same thought. Otherwise, we're always arguing about all kinds of things, especially the way I dress. She didn't even bother asking me before sewing up all my favorite ripped jeans, and then left a dress that she'd made on my bed with a note. This adorable dress will suit you much better. I used to love her handmade dresses when I was 5, but who even wears anything like this these days? That's not all. She nagged me all the time for straightening my hair instead of keeping it naturally frizzy, since it's supposedly cuter. And guess what? It's actually her who I'd inherited my natural hair from. Bet she didn't know it was the reason I had to grow up with my classmates saying stuff like, "You're actually quite pretty, but it's a shame about the hair." And, "How come you don't have straight hair like your parents? Are you adopted?" Those hurtful words made me hate my hair with a passion and wish for beautiful, smooth, straight hair, like Kendall Jenner's. So of course, I'll keep straightening it every day, no matter what Grandma says. Thankfully, those complaints will finally come to an end tomorrow, as I'm going back to school after summer break. Yay! Huh? What's everyone buzzing about? At that moment, the teacher walked in and announced that our class will have a very special new student. And then a very familiar figure entered my class. It was my grandma? What on earth? Did she get lost on her way to bingo or what? How humiliating. Maybe if I stayed deadly still, she wouldn't spot me, and no one would know it was my granny. Oh, my sweetie pie, you forgot your orange juice. All eyes were on me. Good grief. Someone help me disappear from this planet, please. After class, I had to sneak out as fast as I could to avoid having lunch with my grandma. But my best friend Lloyd wouldn't quit teasing me. Suddenly, I heard someone laughing loudly across the room. Grandma? But who is she sitting with? Wow, Jose has quite a peculiar taste in women. He ignores every single girl in this school, but is now completely smitten over your granny. Jeez, why is she bothering him? Jose must have felt uncomfortable. I quickly went over there, apologized, and pulled my grandma away. On the way home from school, my grandma recounted her day just like a little kid would. Do you know that they have vending machines in the hallway with all kinds of snacks? That's genius! And oh my, the campus is big. I almost wet myself while searching for the restroom. Tell me which part of this is funny again? It only proves that someone her age belongs in a nursing home, not a high school. I needed to talk to Mom, so when she was finally alone in the kitchen, I immediately asked her, how exactly did Grandma end up in my class? It turned out that when my parents invited Grandma to live with us, she told them she would, but only if she could go to school. I think it's a lovely idea. It means she won't be lonely at home all day, as you'll keep her company. Besides, she spent her whole life taking care of our family, so it's our turn to look after her, right? Yeah, I suppose Mom raised some valid points, but who knew that Grandma could turn my school life upside down like this? She clung to me all day, ate whatever I ate, listened to the music I listened to, and even hung out with my friends. Worse still, she told them all embarrassing childhood stories about me. How I used to eat toothpaste because the ad said it was edible, and how I incubated eggs myself to see if I could hatch a chick. But that's not the worst part. She broke my hair straightener, so now I'm stuck wearing this stupid hat. How annoying. Hey, breaking news! What is it this time? Jose has found the girl of his dreams, and she's here at our school. No way! No girls have caught his eye before. Why now? Franny! What on earth? I looked down and, oops, I just accidentally turned him into Sully from Monsters, Inc. Sorry, my bad. Okay, let me see. As Lloyd told me, this was the girl Jose got to know through Tinder before she mysteriously vanished. Moore, 17 years old, goes to my school and... Wait, she only has this picture? All I could see was her frizzy brown hair. Out of nowhere, someone snatched my hat. That must be Lloyd trying to get back at me for the paint job earlier. I tried to grumble at him, but only saw Grandma with my hat in her hand. Franny, your hair is so beautiful. Why cover it up? And also, these clothes. The dress I made for you goes far better with your hair. Enough! There's no way I'd let anyone see me with this hideous hair and granny outfit. Please, Grandma, leave me alone and don't cause me any more trouble. This is my school, and having you around is embarrassing. She looked shocked and was about to say something, but just left without another word. So, it's been a week since we last talked. It seemed that I was no longer her concern as she made new friends. So it's good for both of us, right? Suddenly, I heard a deep voice behind me. Hi, Franny. Can I talk to you about something? Wait, this voice? I immediately turned around to see Joe standing there, smiling at me. Oh my, this is the first time Joe's ever asked to speak to a girl. All the envious eyes are on me. I'm the luckiest girl here. Has he finally seen my unique charm? The thing is, I happened to see your curly hair the other day, and you look quite like the girl in the picture. I wonder if you are... Oh, he didn't come here because of me. Sorry, but I'm not Moore. I could see the disappointment on his face. He apologized for getting the wrong person, but before leaving, he smiled and told me, By the way, you're pretty with that curly hair. Really? That frizzy hair that I've gone out of my way to hide? Can't believe someone out there, besides Granny, actually likes it. A few days later, I arrived at school to a frightening scene. Jose was hand in hand with Amy. Turns out she had come forwards as the mysterious girl. Let's see, 17? Check. Curly brown hair? Check. And her last name is Moore. There's no mistaking it. But I kept wondering, what does Jose like about this notorious wild girl? Her clique, which now included my dear Granny, are always playing dumb tricks for attention. Look, she's no different from a traffic light now that she's friends with them. Once, their group even turned the library into a runway. Obviously, this quickly reached the supervisor, but, well, only my grandma was slow enough to get caught. Thanks to that, she received a ticket to the principal's office and they called in my mom. Don't you find it ridiculous that a person this age is still getting scolded by the principal? School is not the place for grandma at all. Performing art requires a bold personality, girl. I might be old, but my spirit remains youthful. You know what? I'm going to participate in the Rise to Fame contest as well. I think I may just win. I turned to my mother with begging eyes, but only received a forced smile and a, just let her do what she wants. You'll lose anyway. Why bother? How about you sign up too, and we'll see who wins? Ha! Fine. Challenge accepted. I'll defeat you easily, Granny. Just wait and see. Finally, Rise to Fame, my school's annual competition, arrived. Each team of 3 will participate in different rounds, with the 2 best teams going to the final. First round, handball was a piece of cake for us. Having 2 sporty types on the team helped with that. As for Granny's team, which consisted of herself, Jose, and Dolly Amy, they were eliminated almost immediately. After sports was a Sudoku round. Each team will compete against one another. Whoever solves the puzzle first wins, which should be a breeze because I used to spend rain-filled afternoons playing this game with Granny as a kid. On the other hand, Amy was complaining to the organizing committee that this round was a joke, since Sudoku was so outdated. The more she talked, the more it showed that she's terrible at math and numbers. So it'll be like taking candy from a baby, right? But I forgot Granny was on their team, and unexpectedly, Jose was also very quick-witted. It didn't take them long to solve such a difficult puzzle. Seeing them hugging and celebrating pissed me off. Losing to them by a mere second was the real stinger. Focus, Franny. We had to beat them in the countries and histories round to win. Just a few more minutes till the final round. I was about to leave the waiting room when suddenly I heard a ding coming from this phone left on the chair. It's Grandma's phone. But wait, she knows how to use Tinder? Curious, I opened it and on the screen were all the messages from Jose and the mysterious Moore. Why does Grandma have this account? And why is Jose convinced Amy isn't who he's looking for? I immediately went to look for my grandma and found her in the corner of the stage wing. But as I approached her, she pulled my hand in and signaled for me to keep silent. I thought you let that annoying old hag join the team as a joke. Who knew she'd be so helpful? You'll win easily. Yeah, right? I even heard that history is her strength. I just need her to finish this last round, then I'll kick her out in a heartbeat. The whole group burst out laughing. I nervously turned to look at Granny, but she didn't show any sign of anger. So what will my grandma do next, you ask? As soon as the final round began, she stood up, took the mic and announced, "I want to withdraw from the competition because I will never let two-faced people get the better of me." After that, she left, and the whole audience started to make a fuss, while Amy's face turned pale. However, the real shocker was when Jose also came on stage. "Me too. I don't want to be in a team with a liar." Then he walked away as Amy chased after him. The audience buzzed, and the organizers announced that this meant our team had automatically won the competition. I rushed home right after the awards ceremony to find Grandma ruminating in the garden. I quietly sat down next to her and put my hand on her shoulder to console her. She looked at me, gently smiled, and started telling me stories I'd never heard before. I discovered that she fell pregnant at 16 and dropped out of school. Her friends weren't very nice to her, so she'd never resumed her education. So now she had time, she decided to go back to school to experience her lost youth. "That's why, Franny, you should never let others' mean words get to you. Cherish what you have, because there are still people who love that side of you." What she said was really touching, and it reminded me of Jose's compliments on my hair. "Granny, so what about the Tinder account?" "Oh, I know you really like Jose, so I created an account to learn more about him so I could help you." Turns out, that profile picture was Grandma when she was younger, hence the similarity to me, and Moore actually was her maiden name. I hugged her and profusely apologized for my poor behavior. She gently patted my head, smiled, and said she'd take me to a secret spot. The next day, I returned to my naturally frizzy hair and put on the dress Granny gave me. It wasn't trendy, but it fit me perfectly, and weirdly, I felt kinda confident wearing it. My grandma and I happily walked into a book cafe when I spotted Jose. "I've brought the person you're looking for here." We both looked at her with questioning eyes. "You mean..." Turned out there was still one thing she hadn't told me, that the alias Moore she put up on Tinder was all based on my preferences, my hobbies, my habits, my taste in music, etc. She'd been collecting everything about me to text Jose. "I had to let him know there's an interesting girl like our Franny out there, right?" That was why Jose didn't feel as compatible with Amy. Then the intelligence round confirmed it, as he and the mysterious girl both had one thing in common, a passion for Sudoku. In the end, everything was cleared up. Grandma is still attending my school, and I actually don't mind it anymore. She brings in homemade cakes for me and my friends, tells us interesting stories about the old days, and gives out the best advice. Most importantly, she made me realize that being me isn't so bad, frizzy hair and all. Almost forgot. You're also wondering what happened between me and Jose, huh? Well, I think you should see for yourself.
Hey guys, Milo here. Again. I'm going to share with you the final part of my awesome story, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. For those of you who are struggling to keep up, in the second part, I decided to make a move with Vanessa, despite knowing that she's the little sister of my horrible ex. And also, she was dating this thug, Kane. The only thing that matters is that she had feelings for me too. So I convinced Vanessa to dress sloppily so Kane would end it with her. Of course, my genius plan worked. Then we started dating officially. But I didn't want Vanessa to find out the truth about my past relationship with her sister. So I made up some ridiculous story to her about how I wasn't ready to face seeing her beloved sis yet, as she was the mean girl that had made my life a living hell back in middle school. Anyway, Kane found out about Deanna being my ex, and now he's threatening to tell Vanessa everything unless I set him up on a date with my sister Kayla. I know, complicated, huh? I swear my life is just one big soap opera. Anyway, tuck luff, sis. Seems like you have a date with creepy Kane this Saturday. Okay, so the fact she already has a boyfriend makes things somewhat complicated. I guess there was only one thing for it. I just have to trick her into going on the date. So, Kayla loves singing. I mean, she's tone deaf, but she thinks she's Katy Perry or something. So I figured that the most logical way to trick her into meeting Kane was to come up with some story about a talent agent being interested in her. I told her that I had a friend who knew a talent agent, and this agent would just love to have dinner with her on Saturday and talk about her career. At first, she raised her eyebrow and said, "As if." So I let out a long sigh, then replied, "As much as it pains me to admit that you have talent, well, you do, so meet the agent, or don't, as if I care." I shrugged, then I walked off. I hadn't got far when she shouted after me, "Yeah, okay, I'll be there." Result: I knew that my sister wouldn't be able to resist the prospect of getting one up on me. It's a shame for her that this would never happen. Of course, I wasn't a complete jerk. Kane's a volatile idiot, so the least I could do was secretly follow her to make sure she was safe. I sat in the restaurant in my sunglasses, stick-on mustache, and baseball cap. Talk about the master of disguise. I should open up a spy business. Kayla was far too busy droning on about herself to notice me. She didn't seem to recognize Kane as being Vanessa's ex either. Probably because he'd actually washed his hair. And was that aftershave I could smell? I overheard her say to him, "So do you really think I can make it as a singer?" Kane looked confused, but he just shrugged and said, yeah, sure." Even though she wouldn't quit going on about her singing, he still continued to flirt with her. Lame things like he told her she looked pretty and stroked her arm. Ugh. At one point, Kayla started singing. Kane looked dumbfounded, and the waiter walking past actually covered his ears. It was so funny, even I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then she must have had a light bulb moment about who he was, as she gave him a scrutinizing look, stood up, then said, "Wait a minute, yeah, excuse me? I need the bathroom." As she stormed across the room, I knew she was bailing. Oh no, if she did that, then Kane would tell Vanessa everything, and my life would be over. So I hurried after her and shouted her name. At first, she gave me a weird look, so I removed my sunglasses and fake mustache. She looked pretty mad. But I knew that I had to tell her all about how Kane was blackmailing me. I even managed to fake some tears. At first, she seemed furious and she shouted at me. A lot. But then she seemed to calm down and she smirked. Uh-oh. That smirk didn't look good. She told me, "Okay, I'll go back inside, but this means you have to do everything I say. All month." I didn't like the sound of this, but I had little choice, so I agreed. She went back inside and the date seemed to go well. The problem was now I didn't have to worry about Kane. Instead, I had to worry about my sister. Why do these situations happen to me? Has karma for messing with all those couples come back to bite me? I had to do all Kayla's chores, including staying home every weekend to babysit the kid next door. Ugh. Then I also had to message her actual boyfriend and apologize for the Valentine's prank I played on him. A reminder for you, it involved my super speed and a whole lot of duct tape. Things got weirder though, as Kane seemed totally smitten with my sister. He sent her flowers, then he sent her a giant teddy bear. And he even messaged me saying he wanted to assure me he would never hurt her. Okay, this was weird. It seems my sister had made the once thug-like Kane turn soft. Thing is, she binned his flowers, gave the teddy to the neighbor's kid, and well, made it clear she didn't like him. Wow, love can really mess someone up. Even someone like Kane. I guess he liked her coldness toward him. I suppose it's far more of a challenge than being with someone all kind and sweet like Vanessa. Kayla had started selling home-baked goods, cookies and things. They were tough, burned, and gross, but people seemed to buy them. So guess who she roped into playing delivery driver? Talk about lame. What made it even worse was I had a date with Vanessa one day. But no, now I had to deliver inedible biscuits. Being the smart guy I am, I found a way to get around this. So I picked Vanessa up from the library, then went off to make the deliveries. The plan was to drop them off as quickly as possible, then Vanessa and I could have date night. Vanessa didn't mind. In fact, she thought it was sweet that I was helping Kayla out. Ha! We got to the delivery address, and it was a nail salon. I left Vanessa in the car and rushed inside. Then I saw who the customer was, and oh my God. There standing in front of me was Deanna. Talk about a shocker. I was so surprised that I actually dropped the delivery. I muttered out something about how my sister would reimburse her. Then I went to leave. She grabbed my arm and said she wanted to apologize to me properly for cheating on me. Now was not the time for this. Talk about awkward. I tried to yank my arm away, but she kept clinging to me. Then Vanessa suddenly walked in. I guess she must have seen us through the shop window. She yelled out, "Deanna, what are you doing? Let him go! Stop being so mean!" I didn't want to believe that you ever teased him back in middle school, but here's the proof. Deanna looked confused as she replied, "What are you doing here? And what do you mean tease?" They yelled back and forth in confusion for a while until Deanna blurted out, "He's my ex-boyfriend!" Cue two furious women staring at me in anger, asking for an explanation. Now would be the perfect time for a UFO to come and abduct me, but no such luck. I had some explaining to do, so we went to the coffee shop next door, and I confessed that Deanna was actually my ex. But I only found out about it after dating Vanessa, so I lied because I didn't know how to handle that awkward situation. I begged them for forgiveness. I was so scared. I was basically staring down at the table the whole time. But then suddenly, I heard giggles. Deanna started to laugh and said, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." Oh my, Milo. Vanessa joined in. Okay, that makes sense, since he's the one who also came up with the ridiculous plan for me to break up with my ex by playing ugly. He really has a unique sense of solving problems. Okay, so I never thought they'd find any of this funny, but at least they're not mad at me. So in the end, I got a proper apology from Deanna. We're cool now, and I can freely date Vanessa too. Turns out life is far simpler when you don't end up in a web of lies. As for Kane, well, he doesn't bother Vanessa anymore. Instead, he's still pining after my sister. I actually think he might have a chance with her, as she broke up with her boyfriend because that dude has been constantly bailing on her to hang out with his friends. Even though I've seen a different side to Kane, I don't know how I'd feel about having him as my actual brother-in-law one day. But yeah, I got the girl, so everything turned out pretty great. As for pranks, well, I can't rule out never doing the odd one or two in the future, but I promise to never mess with loved-up couples again. I've learned my lesson on that one.
Hi, I'm Olive, and at the young age of just 23, I've decided I'm totally done with love. Why, you ask? Well, because all men are jerks, liars, and fraudsters. They're like magpies. They're always looking for something new and shiny to come along. So, your boyfriend is different? Yeah, whatever. I've heard it all before. I've believed it all before, too. Trust me. But as much as it sucks to hear that all guys are the same, I'll tell you why. It all began back in high school when I had a massive crush on this boy called Xavier. He was so dreamy, handsome, and talented. We bonded over our love for music, and we were in the same school choir together. Every musician has a muse, right? I believed that I was Xavier's only muse and no one could replace me. In my eyes, he could do nothing wrong. Being around him filled me with butterflies, and I couldn't wait to go to college with him and share my life with him. But then I caught him in the music room kissing some other girl. I felt so broken and ran off. I just didn't understand how a boy who I thought cared about me could hurt me so badly. I turned into a zombie version of myself. I could barely eat anything, and I refused to go to school as there's no way I could face seeing him with her. In the end, my mom was so concerned about me that she let me change schools. The problem was that it might have been a new school, but it was still full of jerky guys. I started dating this boy called Justin, but then he broke up with me for my friend Rosie. I had to endure sitting alone in the canteen and watching them feed each other yogurt. Gross. I thought that going to college would change my bad luck with guys and that they'd be more grown up about relationships. But no, turns out my first college boyfriend, Thomas, was two-timing me the whole time. I was clearly a magnet for bad guys, so I decided to use it to my advantage. In fact, their bad behavior is so predictable that I've managed to build a career on it. So after I graduated from college with a degree in business administration, I convinced my family to lend me money so I could open up my love trap business. Do you want to find out if your boyfriend's loyal or not? Well, my business can help with that. Hire me, and I can tell you if you're wasting your time with that charming guy or if he's one in a zillion. This isn't an investigation service or your regular kind of honey trap company. No. Instead, I help my clients determine if their partner is faithful or not, even before he actually has an affair with someone. Why waste your time and effort with a man who has a wandering eye? It's simple, really. If your partner likes tall brunettes, I'll send a beautiful girl fitting this description over to the place he'll be at. Naturally, I have different service packages to choose from to suit all budgets. For instance, level 1 is a brief encounter in a chosen location, while level 3 ups the stakes. Trust me, few guys can resist a super sexy woman. If your boyfriend passed our challenges, congratulations. But if he didn't, then we'd have pictures, videos, and messages to back it up. Of course, my client's discretion was the utmost importance to me. So, if questioned, then my girls would deny being hired, and who by? And they'd never go beyond the limits or allow themselves to develop feelings for the guy. As crazy as it sounds, I was doing really well with this job. Business was booming, and although seeing my clients burst into tears when I handed them pictures of their guy flirting with one of my girls wasn't fun, exposing a cheater made me feel satisfied. Then everything changed when Amy showed up at my office. She seemed like any normal client at first. She loved her boyfriend, but she just wasn't fully sure if she could trust him. A normal, boring case. At least, I thought it was until I opened up the folder with the information about her boyfriend. There, staring back at me, was a picture of Xavier. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Still, I kept my cool, smiled sweetly at Amy, and said, "Leave it to me." As if I was going to turn down this job and a large sum of money just because I had history with Xavier. Amy didn't know that, and she didn't need to. I'd send another girl along, catch him out, then voila, Amy would see what a jerk he was. Only that evening, I poured myself a glass of wine and looked through his folder. Geez, I'd forgotten just how handsome he was. By my third glass of wine, I decided that no one knew Xavier better than me. Therefore, I needed to use myself as bait and catch him out. The next evening, I put on my favorite dress and I went to the bar Amy said he'd be at. There he was, sitting at the bar and flirting with the pretty bartender. Some things never change. Then he turned and saw me. He looked shocked and said, "Olive, is that you?" "Oh, hi, Xavier," I smiled bitterly. "The last time I saw you, weren't you having fun with your new muse in the music room?" He looked confused and said he didn't understand what I was talking about, so I gave him a refresher. I thought he'd be ashamed that I caught him out as a cheater, but then he responded, "No, you've got the wrong idea. We were just practicing for the school play when she tried to kiss me all of the sudden. I bet you didn't stay until the next moment to see me push her away and tell her I already had my girlfriend. You're my one and only Olive, my muse." Suddenly, I felt so stupid that I didn't ask him directly that day, and just ran away without a word. If I had, then I could have had my dream life with him, and never had to experience those jerk guys. As I looked into his dreamy eyes, I realized that I still loved him, and I knew he loved me too. That Amy girl wasn't right for him. So when he asked me to go back to a hotel room with him, I didn't think twice about saying yes. After that, we started dating, and it felt good being able to trust a guy again. He was always spoiling me with romantic weekend trips and taking me out to expensive restaurants. But then one night, when I was with him at a hotel, and he was out of the room, his phone beeped, and I saw a message from Amy pop up. So when he returned, I used this as my chance to ask him, "Who's Amy?" He touched my hand and told me that she was just some silly girl he was pretending to date so her father's company would hire him for a big job. He promised that after his business contract ended, he wouldn't talk to her again. I'd failed to trust Xavier once before, and I wasn't about to do it again. Also, I need to help him with his business. So when Amy came to my office, I put on a smile and said, "Congrats, Xavier's one of the good guys." "Is that right?" She raised an eyebrow. Then she threw a pile of photos on the table between us. There were pictures of me and Xavier at the bar, at the mall, on our recent short trip away, and in a hotel foyer. Talk about a shocker. It turns out Amy wasn't as naive as I thought she was. She scowled at me and said, "Does your place even have rules for going to hotels with the customer's boyfriend to challenge him? Prepare yourself to go to courts, fraudsters." She left, leaving me trembling with fear. I was about to lose my business, and it was all my own fault. But at least I still had Xavier, the love of my life, right? I called him up in tears and expected him to comfort me. Instead, he yelled out, "You ruined it all, you loser! How dare you let Amy know about your embarrassing affair? Do you really think I'd leave a good girl like Amy for someone awful like you? Prepare for the trial, since my testimony will put you at a disadvantage. Now, I have a ruined career and a dented pride. I'm tired and exhausted, and the last remaining belief in love I had has been lost forever. But worse still, I don't trust myself. I hate the fact that I fell for Xavier's charms not once, but twice. But if I manage to get through this lawsuit without losing everything, then I want to start a new business. I don't want to be bitter forever. Instead, I want to do something with my life. Something that doesn't involve love, heartbreak, or anything in between, as I'm keeping my heart a no-go zone from now on. Hi, my name's Crystal, and my family are super wealthy. I have never needed to work, but I wanted to. So me and my friend Alice decided to become entrepreneurs, and my dad helped fund our startup. We both love shopping, so we created a really cool app that helps you choose the latest trends to suit your body. And unlike my friends, I was single, but I didn't mind. In fact, I loved how free I felt. However, there was just one small problem. My parents weren't okay with this. They were desperate for me to find someone and get married, and that's when they decided to take matters into their own hands. They started setting me up on blind dates. I told them I could easily find my own date, but they said that whoever I dated had to come from a good, wealthy family. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't even interested in dating, especially as I'd had some really bad relationships in college. That's also why my parents wanted to find someone for me, as they'd hated the guys I'd dated before and didn't trust me that I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. I refused to go, but then my dad said something that sent chills up my spine. Okay, don't go, but then your startup is over. I'll take away all your funding. Wait, no, that couldn't happen. We'd worked so hard to build the app, and the only way we could afford it was with my dad's help. Fine, I'll go, but I can't promise I'll like these guys, I said. I went on the date, and then many more after that, and I quickly became an expert at making sure those boys wouldn't be interested in me. And yet still, I was keeping my parents happy by going on the dates. It was a win-win. But before I became a pro at this blind date game, there were many awkward and hilarious situations that I had to go through. On one of my first dates, we met up in the lounge of a hotel. All I knew was that the guy Trent owned the hotel and that his family were a big name in some hotel chains in the area. I was running late, and the parking lot in the basement was jam-packed. I finally managed to find an empty spot, and I was rushing to get to it. But then out of nowhere, another car also appeared and was heading for the same spot. We ended up bumping into each other. Both our cars got badly scratched, and mine even had a dent. Oh no, my baby. I was so upset. This was my Porsche that my parents had bought me for my sweet 16th. And even though I have a ton of other cars at home, this was my most favorite. Who would dare to hurt my child like this? I stomped out of the car and started yelling at the guy. He climbed out of his car and he was wearing a hat, so I couldn't really see his face, but I guessed he was younger than me. Could he be the valet parking boy or something? But then he started speaking and said that it was my fault because I'd been going in the wrong direction, and that he had every right to make me pay for the damage done to his car. What? He's the one who should have been paying for the damage on my car. Well, that just made me even more furious. And then he had the cheek to say he was in a rush, and he handed me his business card and said we'd settle this later. I snatched that card out of his hand and threw it in my bag without even looking. That would be my lawyer's problem, not mine. And to make matters worse, he had taken the parking spot. So now I still had to find somewhere else to park. It took me ages. And by then, I figured my date wouldn't have even waited for me. I arrived at the table that had been reserved for us, and of course he was already sitting there. From afar, I was impressed. He looked like a total babe. Maybe my parents' taste wasn't so bad after all, and his outfit was on point. In fact, I'd seen it somewhere before. Must have been a new trend. I said hi to him and sat down, but he just started laughing, and after like 1 minute of smiling at me, he said hi back. Then he started to introduce himself, and I realized who he was. He was the guy I just bumped into in the parking lot. Oh my god, this couldn't be happening. This was too awkward. I pretended to look for something in my bag and then quickly glanced at his name card. Yep, it said General Manager on it. Oh man, I was doomed. I tried my best to act like nothing had happened. I mean, maybe he didn't recognize me. Ugh, who am I kidding? Of course he did. And as the date went on, he kept teasing me about it, saying that the parking spot was reserved for hotel staff. I was kind of bummed. I mean, he was so cute, and I'd completely ruined my chances. I felt bad for creating such a bad impression and begged him not to tell my parents. He agreed that it would be our little secret, and after that things were better. We actually got really close and even became good friends. You're probably wondering why we didn't hit it off. Well, turns out he's actually gay. He trusted me enough to come out to me. That's how close we were. He hadn't even told his parents yet. And that's why these blind dates are as much of a nuisance for him as they are for me. So, he's the one who helped me come up with the idea to act like a bad girl, to turn off the other guys on dates. All based on his actual experience of our date. Ever since then, whenever I went on a blind date, I was intentionally late so that I'd make the worst impression possible. I'd wear my bad girl outfit, which was an oversized black shirt, ripped jeans, and dirty sneakers. And of course, I'd always chew gum. Make sure to have this annoyed look on my face all the time. This drove rich guys crazy, and none of them ever asked for a second date with me. But one time, it didn't go to plan. The guy I was on a date with, Corey, he saw right through me, and even had the guts to confront me about what I was trying to do. It made me so mad, and it was the worst date ever. But still, he told his parents that it went well, and he wanted to see me again. He surely wanted to pick a fight with me. Since he was the only guy that I'd been on a blind date with that had given positive feedback, my parents were super stoked upon hearing this, and they made me continue seeing him. Otherwise, they said they'd take away my cars and cancel my credit cards. I couldn't stand him. He was your typical bad boy player type who thought he owned the world. He didn't even work. His dad just made up a position for him in the family business. What a spoiled brat. And we didn't even actually date. He just rang me up anytime he wanted and made me go to places with him, as if I was just an accessory to him. It's such a waste of time, but what else could I do? One day, we were at the country club to celebrate his dad's 60th. It was so boring, so I snuck outside for a bit. He caught me playing on my phone, and he literally snatched it out of my hand and teased me with it. He thought it was hilarious until he realized that I'd been texting with Trent. Suddenly, he looked really distant. Then he asked if I was close to this guy. I didn't even have a chance to respond. He quickly returned my phone and just left me standing there. I didn't get it. Was he jealous or something? After that, he disappeared for a few weeks, which was really odd because normally he was all up in my face all the time. My parents were worried, and they forced me to go check to see if he was okay. Why is he so bothersome? I didn't want to go at all, but still, I had to. I got to his apartment, and the whole place smelled like alcohol. I mumbled in annoyance, "Hey, are you an alcoholic or something? I thought you'd maybe been sick, but okay then, I see." Then he said, "This is all because of you." I was confused. What had I done? I was about to leave when I noticed something. It was a crumpled photo of Trent and Corey. Oh my god. Am I seeing things or what? I picked it up. Corey glanced over and sighed. After a really awkward silence, Corey told me that Trent was his ex. What? So Corey was gay too? They broke up because they had planned to run away together because neither of them were brave enough to come out to their parents. But then Corey had bailed on the plan when his dad had offered him a position in the company and a huge inheritance. He couldn't give that up. Trent had been so hurt because Corey had chosen money over their relationship. It's been 2 years since then, and Corey regrets it a lot, but Trent won't even give him the time of day anymore. That's when Corey asked me to help him speak to Trent again. Oh God, I don't know if I should do it because I don't want Trent to date such a bad guy again. Plus, maybe Trent will just think I'm taking Corey's side and cut me out of his life too. But what if Corey really has changed?
$98, $99, one more to go. And 200,000 followers! It looks like I'm making quite an impression on the world. Hey, you're looking at the hottest beauty and lifestyle influencer of Park Springs High School. Beauty and brains? I have both. It's not surprising, is it? Obviously, a girl like me gets loads of attention. Oh, there our nerdy Ben is, my #1 fanboy. He's always following me around school and offering to help me with, well, everything. I can't blame him. I mean, I'm basically his queen. Hey, Ben. I didn't see you at my locker as usual. Are you good? I'm out of money today, so... Wait, Ben, don't say it like that. People will think I mugged you or something. I never ask for those groceries or sundries. Yes, you don't. Sorry. Okay, so that was weird. Then things got even stranger when I overheard Christine telling her friends that after being exposed, an anonymous IG singer's followers had skyrocketed to a whopping 500,000. But the thing was, she went to school here. She's that nobody in bio class, Stella. Stella hurried past me into class, followed by a flock of people trying to take her pic and asking her to sing. Blah, blah, blah. Some of the boys even offered to take her home after class. Poof! Please! What were they thinking? Ugh! She could play the fragile and confused act on these losers, but she didn't fool me. The dropped book scenario was so overrated. But, why was Ben rushing to pick it up? What a traitor! Ben? Where's my homework? He couldn't even come up with a better excuse than, I went out last night. This was baloney. I just heard him offer to help Stella with her homework. And guess what? This girl, still with her Little Miss shy facade up, told Ben that she could do her own essay. Ugh. Did she think she was Beyoncé or what? Acting all high and thinking she's the beacon of the universe? I was furious. So she wanted a taste of fame, huh? Let's just say, as a senior in this field, having experienced its downside, it was time I taught her some manners. After that, I made sure she became the main topic of every single talk in school. Hey, she needed to learn how this fame game worked. Everyone was giggling, pointing, and whispering behind her back. She had to cover herself with a hoodie that hid half of her face and walk through school in anxiety. Yeah, I know that paranoid feeling all too well when you obsess with why people keep on giving you odd looks. Then one day, I was putting my books back in my locker when I glimpsed someone running past me crying. It was Stella. And she dropped a note that said, if I were you, I wouldn't have shown up at school ever again. You're a joke. Gosh, do people even say these things? This was way too harsh. What happened? For God's sake. He didn't think I was the one who wrote this, did he? From that day on, Ben completely ignored me. And worse, he was glued to Stella, comforting her as people talked behind her back. Ugh. Then one day, I was tying my shoelaces when I heard some cheerleaders trying to open someone's phone. Right at that moment, Stella stepped out of the shower stall. Upset to see others violating her privacy, she tried to fight back. But oh boy, this wallflower couldn't even make them budge. Fine, I'll help her, but only this time. You tattletale! You think you run the place now just because you're popular? Go tell Ben I didn't put that note in your locker. Better yet, call him right now. Oh, come on. Just run to the bleachers and tell that nerd. Go! What are you looking at? I went over to the bleachers to find Ben comforting Stella. What now? Snitching on me again? Actually, Stella was just telling me that you didn't write that note. Could you be any more foolish? So, you're just gonna bluntly do whatever I tell you to? Don't mind her. It's just who she is. A bit rough, but a truly great friend. I don't make friends. Yeah, I'd learned it the hard way. Back in my early days on Instagram, the only friend I trusted posted a video of me changing in the school's shower stall. I still had my tea inside my shirt, but that taught me a cruel lesson about friendships and fame. When you're famous, people will always want something from you. You can't trust anyone at all. You hear me? Stella! Who's that? Liam, Stella's friend from the music club. They look good together, don't they? What? Are you jealous of him or something? For that silly chick? Ben didn't say anything, but just blankly stared at them. Huh? He never looked at me like that anymore. Now I was no longer the Instagram queen. That meant I was no longer his queen. It was true there was no one I could trust. A few days later, there was a big football match. We were going up against our rival school for the final, and Stella was singing the national anthem. Even the mayor and a local TV station showed up for it. Crazy! Ben was part of the AV team, so when some dude told me Ben wanted to talk to me, I went to the AV room to find him. What did he want to talk about? Hopefully not something to do with Stella. Ugh! But as I got there, no one was around. Huh? Right at that moment, the screen showed Stella stepping up to the podium preparing to sing. But instead of the soothing melody, a string of strange, distorted sounds came out of her mic. What was going on? What are you doing here? Ashley! He pushed me aside and hurriedly fixed the sound system. And just a minute later, things were back to normal and Stella could restart the song. Ben gave me an accusing look, then dragged me behind the bleachers, where we met up with Stella and Liam. Then Ben told her I'd messed with her mic. Ugh! How could he think I was capable of something like that? Meanwhile, this Liam guy stepped in, saying it could have been a technical error. Yeah, whatever. I went to leave, but Liam caught up with me. Weird. Weren't he and Stella having a thing? He immediately denied it, saying they were just acquaintances from music club. But I've been wanting to get closer to you for a while. You're the true Instagram queen, not Stella. Whoa, this guy was a top-class jerk. Just a minute ago, he had his hands wrapped around Stella, and now he was trying to leech onto me. He even started leaning in to kiss me on the cheek. Quickly, I dodged it as I met Stella's gloomy look from behind. Yikes. It was time to get out of here. I didn't sleep so well. Ugh. All this stress was bad for my skin. So I was groggily making my way along the school corridor when Stella stormed up to me. It was you, wasn't it? You were so mean to me, threatening to delete my IG account because you were so jealous Ben had left you for me. Now it's really gone, and it's all your fault. What are you talking about? I had nothing to do with your stupid account. Yeah, I gossiped about you to mess with you a bit, but that was all. And you think I did it too? Excuse me? Did he just ignore me? And there Ben was, My so-called friend who turned his back at me right at the moment I needed him the most. And I'd never threatened to delete her account. Why did she make it up? Was she that jealous of me and Liam yesterday? What's this? An unexpected message from Liam said,
Hey Ashley, don't worry, sweetie. I've got your back. What do you say we meet at 8 p.m. in the park?
Ugh, this shameless, two-faced jerk. What was he up to this time? So after class, I slid a note into Stella's locker, pretending to be from Liam, saying,
I have a surprise for you. See you at 8 p.m. in the park.
I arrived on time to find Liam already waiting. He kept putting on this simping act like he was madly in love with me or something.
I can help you prove everything, and I only ask for one tiny favor, that you'll be my girlfriend.
You can do that? But how?
Well, you can just simply put the blame on someone else. Let's say, Ben? Oh, honey, you don't have to do anything. Just come to me and let your man handle it.
Ugh, this guy made me want to barf. But I still had to play it cool so I could figure out what this dude had up his sleeves. Sounds interesting, but I want to know more. How are you going to carry out your master plan?
Honey, I've already got all the pieces of evidence in my hands.
You mean?
That's right. I was the one who deleted Stella's IG account, and I know a way to blame it on someone else.
You did what? Ashley, I let my jealousy blind me. So when I saw him flirting with you right in front of me, I just lost it. At least you're not the only fool around here. He played both of us. And for the record, he's so not my type. Your type? Let me guess. Someone like Ben? He's such an idiot. He'd never realize I have feelings for him. But you're more of his type than I am. Besides, the way he just abandoned me when I needed him the most.
Ashley, I didn't mean to hurt you like that.
What? You've been there the entire time?
Yeah, I've heard it all, including the part about how you have feelings for me. Look, it's not what you think. I'm not into Stella that way. The thing is, I saw her singing at a coffee shop and realized right away she's my favorite anonymous singer on Instagram, so I sort of revealed her identity online. One thing led to another. I felt so guilty I just stayed by Stella's side and accidentally pushed you away. And it's not that I don't trust you. After you left, I tried to convince everyone you didn't do it, but they didn't believe me. Then Stella showed me the note in her locker of Liam asking her out, and I recognized your handwriting. I got worried, so...
So, you didn't turn on me?
Yeah, I know you can seem cold sometimes, but deep down you have a good heart.
So, turns out that Stella going viral meant some local lounge singer had lost a lot of gigs, so she hired Liam to delete Stella's account for good. This guy was no joke. The note, the cheerleaders, the mic accident, he was responsible for it all. Luckily for me, I'd managed to put my phone on record mode for the entire conversation I had with him. So the next day, I went ahead and reported him to the principal. Well, no bad deed goes unpunished, so I hope you enjoy your indefinite suspension, Liam. As for me, I no longer go solo anymore, as I have a new friend by my side, who now has quit social media and enjoys her passion for singing. And Ben is still Ben. Such a doofus. But my doofus.
Hey, Kat here. I don't want to alarm you or anything, but this is the final part of my story. I hope you'll enjoy it. And here's a reminder of what's happened in the last part. You remember, my dad told me surprising news that he wanted to get back with Mom, and he needed my help, don't you? Of course, I jumped at the chance and immediately put my healing family relationships plan into action. I knew I had to somehow delay Mom's wedding to Max, so I pretended to break my leg. My plan was totally working, as not only did they postpone the wedding, but Max and Taylor moved out to give me time to heal. I was very satisfied because everything was going as I planned, when suddenly, right on the day I had the bandage removed, I arrived home to hear the awful truth that shocked me to my core. My dad didn't want me to exist in the world because I was a girl. As soul-destroying as it was, I continued to listen to Mom and Dad's conversation. I heard Mom say, "I will never forgive you and never forget the moment you wanted me to get an abortion. Never! So don't think I will ever let you come back to this family." Dad replied, "Mary, please, I beg you." I'd heard enough, so I ran into my room. It all made sense now. No wonder Dad supported my tomboy style, because he desperately wanted a boy. As for my mom, she tried to make me dress up like a girl to get revenge on him. Feeling unwanted and unloved, I packed some clothes and quietly left the house. Normally, when I was upset, I would run to my dad's, but that option was out, obviously, so where could I go? Then I thought about Harry, so I called him to pick me up, and I just told him that I felt really bad right now and wanted to run away from home. Without knowing what the exact problem was, he showed up and drove us to the beach. He bought us loads of snacks, and we sat there in silence and watched the sun go down. Then Harry turned to me and said, "Are you ready to talk about it now?" I sighed, ate a handful of Cheetos, then told him everything. I still can't believe it. My dad, the person I love the most, didn't want me at all. Then my mom just used me to make him suffer. Talk about exhausting. It's best if I disappear from their lives. It's not like I'm wanted here anyway. Harry listened. He looked shocked, but he didn't interrupt me. Then he patted me on the back and pulled me in for a big hug. It was weird because we never usually showed each other that kind of affection, but it didn't feel strange at all. Instead, I felt safe next to him. At this vulnerable moment, he's the only person I still trusted. After a long silence, Harry turned to me and said, Who said you aren't wanted? I'm happy that you were born. I mean, meeting you is the best thing that ever happened to me. I've never met someone like you before. Kat, you're a brave and an amazing girl." My heart skipped a beat, and I felt my face turn bright red. I never knew that Harry thought of me like that. Then he touched my hand and said, "And there's something you should know. I really..." Oh my god. I didn't know why my heart was beating so fast. What's he gonna say? But then, his phone rang. It was my mum. She'd been looking for me for hours and was worried sick. When Harry told her I was with him and I was fine, she sounded so relieved. I'm not a blubber. I cried and couldn't stop. I let Harry tell her where we were. When Mum arrived, she rushed over and hugged me. "Why didn't you tell me you were at the beach? I was so worried. Honey, don't you ever do that to me again." I hugged her and cried so loud, I didn't really know why I cried. Maybe because it was the first time we've ever properly hugged, and I could feel her love towards me. After we finally stopped crying, and trust me, it took a while, I told her that I knew the reason why she'd divorced Dad. She wiped off tears on my face and said, "Oh, sweetie, I kind of guessed you must have heard us fighting earlier. I'm so sorry about that. And now you know the reason why I was always so strict on you and wanted you to dress like a girl, to show your dad how amazing it is to have a daughter. But instead, you dress and behave like a boy, just like your father wanted. But Mom, you have to understand that I dress and behave like this because it's who I am. It's not because of Dad, not because of Harry, not because of anyone. If I change, it would mean that I don't live as my true self anymore. So, can you please let me be me, Mom?" My mom smiled at me and replied, "Oh, of course, sweetie. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It was so selfish of me. I was so focused on going against your father that I forgot about your feelings. Can you ever forgive me?" "Of course, Mom." And then we cried again. Since then, things with my mom have improved a lot, but there was still some unfinished business I had to handle. Firstly, I had to swallow my pride and apologize to Max and Taylor. Harry came with me for moral support. We all sat down, and I apologized for being a childish brat. "You're a good man, Max, and my mom truly loves you. I would be grateful if you and Taylor would be a part of this family. Can you two please come back?" I said. He looked shocked for a moment, but then he smiled at me and said, "With pleasure. I miss your mom so much, it's driving me crazy." "Yep, he's been so miserable without her," Taylor added. "I'm sorry to you too, Taylor. Do you need some help with packing?" I asked her. Taylor smiled at me and replied, "Sure, that'd be great." So Mom and Max had a small ceremony in the end, although I still ended up wearing a dress, but hey, it was an exception for Mom's special day. It was a beautiful ceremony, and Mom looked amazing. Next, I had to make Taylor and Garrett get back together. I went to see Garrett at school and told him that it was all my fault Taylor broke up with him. He looked quite shocked, but at the same time, he was also happy to hear me say that. Well, that was such a relief. I felt much better now, knowing that I cleared up all misunderstandings between them. Then, when I was having lunch with Taylor in the cafeteria, he walked over with this enormous bouquet of roses, passed them to her, and asked her to be his girlfriend again. Taylor looked so surprised, but then she gave me a worried look. I smiled and said, "It's okay. You two are meant for each other." She was so happy she hugged me. I guess it was good to see her happy. And last but not least, I had to finish off the beach conversation with Harry. Obviously, I couldn't let that slide that easily. I've been thinking about it a lot, wondering what could it possibly be. Geez, why does it feel like my whole body is heating up every time I think back to that moment? I asked him to come to the beach, where I prepared a blanket on the sand with 2 cans of Coke and a huge pizza. His face lit up when he saw the setup. We had an awesome time and didn't stop laughing, even when Harry teased me by reminding me how I'd worn a dress to impress Garrett. I looked Harry in the eyes and said, "Thanks. Thanks for always having my back when I needed. And, meeting you is also the greatest thing that ever happened to me. You're the only one who accepts me for who I am." He touched my hand and said, "Kat, last time, I wanted to tell you something. I really like you, and I want us to be more than friends. Will you be my girlfriend?" Oh my God, this was crazy. Suddenly, I felt so shy, so I gently punched his arm and turned away, looking elsewhere so he couldn't see I was blushing like a tomato. Then I said, "Okay, fine, but it's just because I pity you." He laughed and hugged me. It felt so good being in his arms. Life was pretty great. Finally, but there was just one last issue to resolve. My dad. I went round to his place and we had a super long talk. He admitted he messed up and apologized for what he'd done in the past and for trying to get me to split Mom and Max up. He told me that it didn't matter if I was a boy or not. He will always love me and is very proud of me. So, as you can see, it's been a whirlwind, but it all worked out in the end. I have the best boyfriend ever and an amazing family. I've been through a lot, but all I'm gonna say is never change who you are just to fit into the norm or to please anyone. Be yourself and the right people will love the real you. If they can't accept you for who you are, then they're just not worth it.
Hey, Diana here. Last time you saw me, I had just received some life-changing news. I'd lived in a beautiful castle my entire life, only as a servant to my best friend, Princess Anne, until I was revealed a huge secret. I was actually the daughter of the late Queen Mary. Only she wasn't dead. She was being held prisoner by her sister, the current Queen Miranda. Also, that made me a real princess. I was still skeptical about it, so I went on a mission to find answers and free Mary. I found a friend in Harry, a delivery driver for the castle who showed me the poor conditions most people in the kingdom were living in. But the thing is, I didn't spill a word to anyone about my identity until I received my DNA results, confirming a connection with Queen Mary.
Why? All this time, you've been keeping it from us? Your citizens?
I had my reason, okay? And I only found out about this not long ago. But yes, Queen Mary is indeed still alive. Then I began to tell Harry and his father the whole story. I know it sounds crazy, but
I believe you. DNA doesn't lie. I'm sorry for doubting you. But the important thing is, you're the true heir to the throne. You're gonna be the key to end Miranda's tyranny. Slow down, son. We'll need a perfect plan, or else it would cost us our lives. And we can't do it without you, Diana.
I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. The fate of the whole country was now resting on my shoulders, and I wasn't sure I was ready. I needed a little time to clear my head, so I took a walk through the town street, only to see this heartbreaking scene.
Please, Diana, help us. Our supply is running out, and we'll soon owe grand tributes to the palace. Next month is Princess Anne's coronation.
I didn't know what to say to them. I couldn't promise I would succeed. Gosh, I just needed one moment away from all this. I snuck away to a hill, and shortly after, Harry found me.
You're okay? I'm sorry if I put a lot of pressure on you. Just know that you don't owe us anything, and it's up to you whether you want to do this or not.
I really appreciate that. But yeah, I knew I had to do this, just not sure how.
Don't worry, okay? We'll figure this out together.
For a minute there, I lost track of everything as I gazed into his sparkling eyes. But this is not the time, Diana. I shook my head, and when I opened my eyes again, the lights from the aristocratic area lit up. That's when it hit me. Hey, let's ask the noble district for help. They have more resources than they could ever need.
We've tried that, but every single time they'd send hunting dogs to chase us away.
So they're just as corrupted as Miranda. Then we'll have to take it from them instead.
Let's assemble the people.
The next morning, everyone gathered at the square. I had rehearsed my speech all night, and I was ready. Citizens of our kingdom, listen to me carefully. Rise up and reclaim what belongs to you from the nobles and the dictator Miranda. We can't keep our heads down and put up with this anymore. We need to unite and fight them for our resources.
But we're not fighters. They take us down immediately.
That won't happen. We outnumbered them by a wide gap. We can beat them if we're willing to. So, what do you say? No one replied. They all looked concerned and doubted my words. Right then, some nobles walking their ferocious hunting dogs passed by.
Hey, what the heck do you think you're up to? Dissolve, immediately.
Then they released their barking dogs on the crowd. People started screaming in fear. I tried my best to calm them and bring the truth to light. Can't you see? These people and the queen live in luxury because they robbed us of our food, our wealth, our dignity. Do you know what the beef and pork you worked so hard to raise are used for? To feed these dogs. Meanwhile, all you have to get by on is dry, moldy bread. And you're just gonna accept that? Do you want to spend your whole life bowing down to these cold-blooded people? I held my breath as they murmured to each other. Then they stood up taller, stronger, together.
Get out of our town. You have no power over us anymore.
They shouted at the nobles, forced them and their dogs to retreat. The people cheered as they left the city square. Harry and I looked at each other, knowing we needed to act now. So we led the people to the nobles' food storage to reclaim everything that rightfully belonged to them. The news of our coup quickly reached Queen Miranda, who issued a nationwide warrant for my arrest. I had to watch my back everywhere I went, but luckily, the citizens were looking out for me too. Like when the soldiers were on to me, Aaron, the flower shop owner, told me to hide in his flower cart. When they approached, he replied,
"No one is here except me, you fools. Get out of my way."
Then continued to push his cart away, leaving the soldiers dumbfounded. Another time, I was on the run again from the nobles when the trolley came near. The driver told me to hop on, then handed me a uniform and a fake mustache, and voila! We confused the heck out of those nobles. But there were many more encounters like that with Miranda's minion. It'd be a matter of time before they caught me, so we had to overthrow Miranda before that happened. At the same time, we also needed to get a stable food resource for the people. I knew the castle's layout like the back of my hand, so we hatched a plan to sneak in. And we had to take action before the coronation ceremony, when Anne is supposed to ascend the throne. If not, Anne would just become Miranda's puppet, and the country would endure her tyranny for many more decades. This was our only chance, because the palace's security would be at its most vulnerable since everyone would be gathered at the chapel preparing for the coronation. It is time to end this, once and for all. The night before the coronation, we snuck into the castle as planned. I led a group of people disguised as servants down to the dungeon to rescue Queen Mary. Meanwhile, Harry led the rest of the storage warehouse to seize the largest food storage in the palace to make the enemy surrender entirely. But when we arrived at the dungeon, Miranda was already there. Diana, what are you doing here? Run, now!
Shut up, sister. I was waiting for my niece.
How did you know I'm here?
Ha! Do you genuinely believe you could pull off this foolish treason plan without my notice? Guess you really are nothing more than a dumb maid. Guards, bring them out.
I turned around and saw the guards dragging Harry and his team to the cellar.
My guards have already captured your other crew in the warehouse. It's time to end your ridiculous rebellion.
You...
Unless you'd like them to be banished from the kingdom instead.
Do whatever you want with me, but leave these people. Miranda smirked, hearing my words, and ordered the guards to throw me along with the others in the cell.
Please, Miranda, she doesn't deserve to rot in here. You still can't shake off that rambling habit after all these years, sister?
You'll never get away with this. You've oppressed your own people to their limits. Someday soon, they're going to rise up and overthrow you.
Big words for such a little brat. Let me guess, even you couldn't tell that your own partner is my right-hand man, aren't you?
What? Harold, the Count? You're lying. It can't be. Harry, why are you standing there? Say something. But he only turned away, in shame. So this is real? Had he been pretending to be on the people's side all along? What about his family?
I asked him to turn you over for my guarantee of his family's safety and a lifetime supply of food, and he agreed. He had no obligation to you now. He's already betrothed to Princess Anne.
Betrothed?
You'll have the rest of your life in the dungeon to think it over, brat. Harold, let's go.
I was dumbfounded when I suddenly heard a familiar voice echoing through the dungeon. Diana, where are you? Anne, is that you? I'm straight ahead. There you are. I was so worried when you suddenly disappeared. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you everything. It's okay. I just heard the whole thing since I followed the guards who dragged Harold down here. But don't you worry, I can plead to my mother to release you, under the condition that you and your mom leave the country and never return. Why? You don't really think you can stand against my mom, do you? There's no end to this, Diana. I know, but with your help, we might be able to turn things around. We have to fight for what we believe in, Anne. You still want a simple life and open a bakery, right? This is your chance. But she's my mother. How could I turn against her? Please, Diana, just listen to me. No, Anne. I can't do that to all the people who are suffering out there.
We'd rather stay in here forever than be free and act like Miranda didn't commit all her crimes.
I guess, from now on, we go our separate ways. Goodbye, Anne. Anne burst out crying and left. I slumped at the corner of the dead silent cell. What was I thinking? That I could make a change? And now I had failed everyone. Queen Mary, Stella, Harold, Anne, and everyone else. I don't think I could do this anymore.
Don't cry now, dear. This isn't the end.
I don't even know anymore. There's no way out. Harry must have known I could never succeed. So he switched sides, right? So did Anne.
No, they might have had their reasons, but they did what they did, and it's not your fault. I know it's hard, but you need to get it together. This is not the time to show weakness.
As much as I didn't think I could, I was determined to try. Early the next morning, another group, led by Harold's father, unexpectedly showed up for mine and Queen Mary's rescue. How did you know we were here?
Harry contacted me last night and asked for help. So, here we are.
You see, not only me, but the people also believe in you. I suddenly understood why Harold had to pretend to be on Queen Miranda's side yesterday. He had a backup plan all along. Now we needed to go stop the coronation ceremony ASAP, before it was too late. When we arrived, Anne was already walking up to receive the crown. I dashed through the spectators to get to the front of the crowd. Stop! I object to Princess Anne's coronation because I, Diana, daughter of Queen Mary, am the legitimate heir to the throne, and I have the DNA test as proof. The crowd grew loud as they reacted to this news. Even the soldiers stopped in their tracks. Guards! Seize her! Before they could reach me, Harold and a group of civilians created a human shield around me, ready to protest. Order! Order! That evidence is fabricated and there's no proof of its validity. Don't be fooled by her. At that moment, Queen Mary finally made her entrance, and the crowd went dead silent. Citizens of our kingdom, I'm your Queen Mary, and I'm very much alive. But I've been held captive for so many years by none other than my sister, Miranda. It was she who took advantage of my weakness after Diana was born to seize control of the kingdom. Now, she and all of you know the truth, and you know that Miranda is not your— Stop all this ridiculousness! I am still the queen of this kingdom, regardless of how. This is treason. Seize them all, now! But no one did as she said. The soldiers, officials, and the entire crowd turned to face Queen Mary and bowed before their true queen for the first time in 18 years. Miranda angrily charged towards us, but she took a surprise detour to prison, where she'll await trial. Then an official returned the crown to Queen Mary, but she didn't put it on. Instead, the ceremony was started again, and I was crowned as the new queen of the kingdom. Are you sure? I still have so much to learn. Why don't you see it for yourself? All hail Queen Diana! Thanks to you, we are saved from the famine and the dictator. You gave us a better life. You are the queen we've been praying for. I could burst out crying hearing their chanting. You see, being a queen is not about immense wealth or influence. It is truly about what you have to offer to the world and who you are inside. And you, my dear, are ready for this. Thank you. I'll try my best to live up to your legacy, Mom. I gave her the biggest hug as the crowd cheered on. And so, I officially became the queen. My first order of duty was to return what rightfully belonged to the people. I promised myself that from now on, no one will suffer under my rule. As the people gathered their things, Harold came wanting to talk, and we left for somewhere private. Diana, I want to be honest with you. I originally became a royal official because I wanted to change Miranda's mind and help the people, but no one took me seriously. They said I should know my place and be grateful that a commoner like me landed a place among the nobility. They even forced me to be the one who delivered the tributes from the people to the castle. It made me sick. But the moment I met you, I felt joy and happiness, the kind that I hadn't felt for a while now. I didn't want to accept the truth that I was betrothed to Anne. I just wanted to be with you. I didn't know you feel that way. Mom told me you like me and want to be with me, and she'll let us be after I was sent the throne. Anne! I'm sorry to say this, Princess Anne, but your mother has been deceiving you. I was only engaged to you by her force, not my own will. I deeply regret disappointing your feelings. I'd never expected my first love would end like this, but I'm glad for you, Diana. You two have my blessing. Oh, Anne, I never meant to hurt you. No, this will be good for me. I can finally leave the castle and have a normal life. Become a baker, like I always wanted. Thanks to you, Queen Diana. As sad as it made me to lose her, we'd grown up together after all. I knew it was best to respect her decision and let her go. It was what we both needed. Now that everything else is sorted out, I can breathe a sigh of relief. Oh, wait. Not yet. Harry or Harold? Which one is it? Whichever one you like. Let me make this clear. I'm still mad at you for lying. So you'll face punishments, mister. Well, look who's flexing their power on day one of the reign. What? You dare challenge the queen? No. This humble servant of yours is ready to obey the almighty queen's orders for the rest of my life. Then I order you to kiss me now. At your service, your majesty. Then he pulled me closer and swept me off my feet with the most passionate kiss ever. Guess my story does end like a fairy tale after all, huh?